The movie opens with a couple, Emily and Luke, attending his uncle's lavish wedding party. After the introductions, they head straight to the bathroom to make out, but their moment is interrupted when Emily unexpectedly gets her period. It seems they are very much in love, and as she begins to clean herself, she notices that a ring from Luke's pocket has fallen to the floor. Here, Luke realizes that his secret is out. He then drops to one knee and proposes to Emily, stating that she's the only woman he wishes to spend the rest of his life with. Hearing this, she becomes emotional and accepts the proposal, as she too loves him a lot. The couple then excitedly heads home to celebrate their engagement. The next morning, an alarm awakens them early, and they're excited about getting married. Emily texts her mother to tell her about the good news. After that, the couple gets ready to leave for work, and Emily places her engagement ring on the table. They then part ways, and head off to their respective jobs. Shortly after, Emily arrives at her office building, and while in the elevator, Luke also shows up with other employees. The two greet each other casually, and ask about each other's weekends as if they don't live together. At this moment, we learn that they are both hedge fund analysts for the same firm. However, because their company policy prohibits employees from dating, they have kept their relationship a secret till now. Later, as the employees are immersed in their work, they are startled by the current portfolio manager smashing computers and shouting in frustration. It turns out he's just been fired, and isn't taking the news well. However, the staff is used to such drama, so they carry on with their tasks. Later, while Emily is working, she overhears two analysts discussing who might be the next portfolio manager. One of them mentions that he overheard the boss speaking to someone, and thinks Luke is about to be promoted. Hearing this, Emily is thrilled and she approaches her boyfriend to share the good news. Luke is also pleasantly surprised and can't believe he's going to be promoted. Upon returning home, the loving couple celebrates the possibility of Luke's promotion. He teasingly asks Emily if she's jealous, but she assures him that she's genuinely happy for him. They then decide that once they reach senior positions, they will finally disclose their relationship to everyone in the office. Later that night, around 2 a.m., Emily receives an unexpected call from her senior, Rory, who insists on meeting her immediately. She tries to refuse, but he says that it's very urgent. In the next scene, she arrives at a pub, where she's shocked to see her boss, Campbell, the highest official at her firm. Emily wonders where Rory is, but Campbell asks her to sit down. He then starts questioning her background, education, and how long she has worked for the company. After a brief conversation, Campbell praises her performance and says she is very talented. He points out that she has contributed to half of the significant quarters in the last month, which puts her far ahead of her colleagues. The scene then cuts to Emily returning home, where Luke is anxiously waiting for her. He asks what Rory said, but she responds she didn't see him and instead met Campbell. She then shockingly announces that Campbell has promoted her to the new portfolio manager. Upon hearing this, Luke is visibly upset, but he congratulates his girlfriend and claims that he's very happy for her. The next day, when Emily arrives at work, Rory approaches her and congratulates her on the promotion. He tells her that he always knew she would make it. However, after that, Rory begins gossiping about Emily with a colleague, suggesting that she probably has a personal relationship with the boss. They joke that they should also switch genders to advance their careers, while Luke is upset to hear this. Upon returning home, Emily doesn't find Luke anywhere and gets worried. She tries calling him, but he doesn't answer. Concerned, she heads to their usual pub and finds him drinking alone. Luke acts cheerful when he sees her and suggests they celebrate her success. But moments later, he abruptly asks if Campbell did anything inappropriate with her. A shocked Emily says she would have informed him if something like that had happened. Here she senses his bitterness and promises to help him get the next promotion. But Luke insists he doesn't need her help and can earn it on his own. Regardless, Emily mentions that Campbell had expressed some dissatisfaction with Rory's performance, and says that she can help Luke take his position. The next day at the office, Emily assigns Luke an important analysis task, which could be a good opportunity to prove himself. After staying late at the office, he finally completes the work and approaches her to hand over the report. But just then, Campbell and another senior manager approach Emily and invite her out to drink. She tries to discuss Luke's analysis and how well he handled the task, but Campbell responds dismissively, reminding them that Luke's previous calculations had cost the firm $15 million. He advises Emily to double-check everything and not put complete trust in his work. In the next scene, we see Luke returning home alone, visibly upset by Campbell's earlier comments. Emily, on the other hand, is drinking with her bosses and trying to speak positively about Luke. She mentions how sharp and hardworking he is, but her bosses don't seem to see him as a promising analyst. To her shock, Campbell reveals that Luke was only hired because of his connections, and that they cannot fire him without a valid reason. He adds that if the guy quits himself, it would make things much easier for them. Elsewhere, we see Luke at home, watching motivational videos to hype himself up. Emily arrives home shortly after, and she appears to be clearly drunk. She tries to apologize for what Campbell said earlier, but he responds that it's fine. Luke adds that it is probably tough love, and his boss only wants him to be his best version. After that, a drunken Emily approaches him to make love, but Luke dismisses her, saying it's too late. The next morning, Luke gets up early and exercises before heading to work. He then notices that a company vehicle has arrived to pick up Emily, which annoys him. In the afternoon, Luke is attending a professional development lecture when he notices Emily laughing cheerfully with Campbell. When he goes to get coffee later, she approaches him and mentions that she has made a reservation at a fancy restaurant for tonight for the two of them. But Luke refuses to go, claiming that he has a lot of work to do. In the evening, we see Emily alone at the restaurant, enjoying her meal. When she returns home, she gives Luke the dessert she bought for him, but he refuses to eat it. Emily then notices him listening to a business motivational coach, and discovers he has even paid a $3,000 subscription fee. She jokes about the logic of spending so much money, but this only irritates Luke. He tells her that she should also listen to the coach and work on her issues. Luke then emphasizes the importance of appearance, and advises her to stop dressing provocatively if she wants others to take her seriously. This deeply hurts Emily's feelings, and she doesn't understand why he attacked her like that. The next morning, Emily decides to dress more conservatively and heads to work. During lunch, she asks Luke to complete an analysis, but he suggests that they invest in a specific stock with high profit potential. Emily is a bit hesitant, but he insists that they shouldn't miss out on this opportunity. In the end, she agrees, and purchases 300,000 shares of the company, before stepping outside for a smoke. But later, when Emily returns to the office, she discovers that Luke's strategy has resulted in a massive loss of $25 million for the company once again. She confronts him and scolds him for jumping into trading without conducting a proper analysis, but Luke attempts to justify his actions by stating that every major firm had invested in it. A panicked Emily then goes to Campbell and assures him that she can resolve the situation. But the enraged boss simply says this:
"Dumb fucking bitch."
In the aftermath of this mishap, Emily works hard to find a good deal and recover the investment. Later, she's drinking at a bar alone, when Luke arrives and proposes another trading idea. He suggests that they use insider information he has obtained. A major corporation where his connection works is on the verge of collapse. According to Luke, the imminent failure will most likely cause the stock price to plummet, making it an ideal candidate for short selling. However, Emily no longer trusts him, and since this method is illegal, she decides not to implement his idea anymore. In the evening, she is conducting some research about another company, and sends a text to Campbell, asking if they can chat. When he doesn't respond, a frustrated Emily heads to the living room, where Luke is reading a motivational book. She suggests they make love to relieve some steam, but he once again refuses, stating that he's busy. Despite this, Emily begins insisting. However, as they start to get intimate, Emily receives a call from Campbell, and Luke urges her not to answer, but she ignores him and quickly picks up the phone. She then informs her boss that she has analyzed another major company rumored to be going bankrupt tomorrow. Emily states that they can utilize this opportunity for short selling to recover their losses. Hearing this, Campbell is hesitant at first, but he eventually decides to trust her and asks her to proceed. Meanwhile, Luke keeps saying that her strategy won't work this time. The next morning, when Emily wakes up, she watches the news, and discovers that her strategy has paid off. The deal she made generated a significant amount of money for her company, allowing it to recover previous losses and much more. Later, when she arrives at work, Campbell immediately apologizes for his harsh comments from yesterday. He also rewards her with a bonus of $575,000 and congratulates her for the success. Following this, Emily texts Luke and invites him to go out and celebrate tonight. But he seems to be jealous of her success and doesn't respond at all. Shortly after, Emily's bosses approach her and invite her to join them for a celebration tonight. Since her boyfriend isn't giving her any attention, she accepts the invitation. In the evening, we see Emily with her co-workers and bosses, having fun at the club. A few hours later, she arrives home late and extremely drunk, which irritates Luke. She tells him how much fun she had that night, but Luke notices the $575,000 check in her bag and feels upset. Afterward, Emily tries to have some fun with him, but he turns her down again. Here, she jokingly calls him pathetic. This enrages Luke greatly, and he ends up retaliating by degrading her character. He comments that she considers herself cool, but in fact, she looks like a hooker who her bosses pay to keep them company. His words deeply hurt Emily. The next day at work, the employees learn that Rory has been fired, which gives Luke an idea. Later on, he approaches Emily and asks her to recommend him to Campbell for the vacant position. However, she is shocked that he would ask her for a favor without even apologizing for last night. Luke continues to pressure her, but Emily insists that Campbell won't listen to her. Eventually, she tells him that they can't work together anymore, and suggests that he apply to another company. But Luke rudely tells her to quit her job instead and walks away. Following this, the desperate guy surprisingly bursts into Campbell's office while he's on call, and expresses how much he has admired him over the years. He gives a passionate speech about why he deserves a promotion. Luke even gets down on his knees, and declares that he will do anything for this job. But just then, a new guy walks in, and it turns out he has been hired to take over Rory's place. Campbell proudly reveals the achievements of this new hire and claims he was poached from their competitor. Upon hearing this, Luke feels deeply humiliated and walks out in defeat. In the evening, Emily returns home to find Luke drunk and upset. She attempts to talk to him about what happened, but he refuses to listen. Suddenly, she receives a call from her mom, who reveals that they've arranged a surprise engagement party for the couple next Friday. Emily is not ready for it, but mom dismisses any excuses and explains that she has invited all of their family members. At the same time, Luke begins to panic because he can't find his motivational notes. Emily then hangs up the call, and mentions that she must have accidentally thrown them in the trash. Upon hearing this, Luke is enraged, but Emily insists he shouldn't waste his time on such motivational notes. Here Luke suddenly accuses her of sabotaging his career and stealing his job. At this point, Emily loses her calm, and reveals that Campbell never intended to promote him, and was actually trying to fire him due to his poor performance. Hearing this, Luke feels deeply hurt and storms out of the house. The next morning, Emily heads to work as usual, but Luke doesn't show up, so she informs the others that he's sick. Emily continues to drink at night and calls him for days, but he doesn't answer her calls. One day, while she is in an important meeting, her boyfriend unexpectedly arrives at the office, looking very distressed and drunk, which distracts Emily.
Proprietary hedge.
He storms into the meeting room and causes a huge scene.
$1,000 machine doesn't even suck your dick.
Luke insults Campbell and accuses him of treating people like dogs just because he owns a successful company. Then, he starts badmouthing Emily, and reveals to everyone that she has been breaking the company's rules by sleeping with him for 2 years. Before he can cause further damage, the guards show up and Luke willingly leaves the office. After this incident, Emily calls him multiple times to confront him, but he doesn't answer. She goes home later and discovers that he isn't there either. To make matters worse, it turns out to be their engagement party that night. A panicked Emily then calls Luke's brother to find out about his whereabouts. But to her shock, she learns that Luke is already at the party despite everything that has happened between them. Upon arriving at the party, she's approached by her mother, who asks her to tidy up and look presentable. But Emily ignores her and walks over to Luke, who is casually drinking at the bar. She confronts him about what happened earlier, which leads to another argument between them, causing a huge scene. Here the bad boy loudly accuses her of sleeping with her boss to get the promotion. In response, Emily calls him a loser and smashes a bottle over his head. She storms off to the bathroom, and he follows her as well. Following this, the two continue to argue in the bathroom, until Luke suddenly kisses her. Emily also kisses him back and they begin to make love. Suddenly, he becomes aggressive and forceful in their intimacy. Emily pleads with him that he's hurting her and asks him to stop multiple times, but he disregards her pleas and violently assaults her. Once he's done, a distraught Emily silently walks out and heads home. The next morning, Emily notices some bruises on her face, which she covers before heading to work. She later meets with Campbell and lies to him that Luke has been stalking her for months. Emily explains that she rejected him multiple times, not only because it violated company policy, but also because she never liked him. She also reveals that he would spread rumors about their relationship and would show up wherever she went. Campbell doesn't seem to care, and tells her that everyone makes mistakes, but those should not affect their work. He then assures her that their HR will handle the situation, and Luke won't get a job in any firm after this. As for Emily, he instructs her to return to her desk and continue with her work. In the evening, Emily arrives home to find Luke at their apartment, and he has packed his things to leave. He informs her that he's moving to another city to start a business venture with his brother. However, Emily is taken aback, wondering why he's sharing his plans instead of asking for forgiveness. She shows him the bruises on her face and body, but he doesn't seem to take them seriously. Emily then reminds him of how he assaulted her last night, but he dismisses her concerns, claiming that they both got carried away, and she can't blame it all on him. In a fit of rage, Emily grabs a kitchen knife and approaches him, demanding an apology. Luke continues to deny his wrongdoing, which prompts her to angrily injure his arm. Fearing for his life, he nervously says that he's sorry, but she demands that he get on his knees and cry. During this, something breaks inside Luke, and he begins to cry sincerely. He claims that he is nothing, and asks for her forgiveness. He also regrets hurting her, and says he had no idea what came over him. Luke promises to do anything to win her back, and pleads for a second chance. Hearing this, Emily kneels down next to him, and Luke thinks she has forgiven him. But this is all she says.
Now wipe the blood off my floor and get out.
She states that she's done with him now, while smiling in satisfaction, and this is where the movie ends.